These are criminals who accidentally picked the worst victims.
The ambulance attack. In November 2019, a man in Rochester knocked on the door of a home late at night, claiming he was sick and needed someone to call an ambulance. The woman inside, 82-year-old Willie Murphy, called it as he requested, but refused to let him in.
Question: who would pay for said ambulance? Because at least in America, those things are expensive. It's like $1,000 per minute of ambulancing. So if you get somebody else to call your ambulance because they're the ones that called it, would they then be the one who is responsible for paying? If so, that's actually kind of a genius play to get someone else to call it. Although I don't think that this is relevant at all. I don't think where this story is even going, but let's see.
That angered him, and a moment later she heard a crash.
Wait, what did she do to anger him?
Called it as he requested, but refused to let him in. That angered him, and a moment later she heard a crash. He had broken through her door. What the man did not know about the small elderly woman living alone was that Willie Murphy was a World Natural Powerlifting Federation champion.
Hang on, she's 82 years old. I don't care who this woman was. She could be the great Kali's child for all I care. There's no way I'm getting beat up by an 82-year-old grandma. I mean, if he ends up getting beat up by this lady, which is what seems like is about to happen, that might be the worst L of all L's in the history of L's. This is on par with England losing the war to the 13 colonies of America. I mean, my God, this is embarrassing.
And 2014 Lifter of the Year, capable of deadlifting 225 pounds.
That's respectfully not that much. For an 82-year-old grandma, that's a lot. But for most men who have never been in the gym can go in the gym and at least lift like somewhat close to a 225-pound deadlift. Unless you're like a tiny man. But most like average-sized men, without even being in the gym, can at least get close to that.
He had been competing in weightlifting well into her 80s. And trained regularly at her local YMCA. The intruder had no way of knowing any of this, and he was about to find out. With the lights off, she was able to hide and catch him off guard.
No
she
way.
Grabbed a table and smashed it over him so hard the table broke. That did not slow her down. She picked up the metal legs and kept going, then jumped on him when he fell to the floor. Then she ran to the kitchen. She grabbed a bottle of shampoo and poured the entire thing in his face while he was still on the ground. Then she grabbed a broom and kept hitting him until the police arrived. The intruder was taken away in an ambulance, and Murphy declined to press charges.
Wait, it must have been the ambulance that she called. This whole time, I was kind of like slandering the guy. But I gotta take a pause here and give props to the old lady. First of all, old lady. This is why it's great to be in the gym. See how active and strong and healthy this old lady is? Not only that though, I mean, absolute infinite aura. Not, I'm 28. I probably shouldn't be using terminology like that anymore. However, it's true. She literally called this dude's ambulance, then whooped him silly, and then he went out on that ambulance because she whooped him silly. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Posed for selfies with the first responders on her front porch.
Yeah.
Her own description of the whole situation was, "I'm alone and I'm old, but guess what? I'm tough." Bishnu Shrestha's train. On September 2nd, 2010, a group of around 40 armed bandits boarded the Maurya Express, a passenger train traveling through India. They moved through the carriages, robbing passengers of their cash and valuables. The passengers had little choice but to comply, and for a while, everything was going according to plan. Then the bandits reached one particular passenger. Bishnu Shrestha was asleep when they got to him, and when he woke, he was prepared to hand over his belongings. But then, an 18-year-old woman sitting next to him was grabbed by the robbers, who intended to rape her in front of her parents. What the bandits did not know about the quietly sleeping man beside her was that Bishnu Shrestha was a soldier in the Indian Army's 8th Gorkha Rifles, one of the most feared military units in the world.
I don't know much about like the different armies in the world, but I don't know a single person that has ever told me that they're scared of the Indian Army. Respectfully, I mean, I'm not trying to be like, mean or anything, but living in America, the home of the free, the home of the brave, the home of the free or the brave. I don't know. But point is, I never heard of anyone being scared of the Indian Army before. But hey, respect to this guy. Is he about a 1v40? If he 1v40s, this guy, they need to make a statue of him. Shout out Bishnu Shrestha.
Are Nepalese warriors with a centuries-old reputation for exceptional combat ability, and they carry a large curved blade called a kukuri at all times.
Yeah.
That blade was about to become a serious problem for about 40 people. Shrestha drew his kukuri and launched a counterattack. The fight lasted around 20 minutes. He engaged the 40 armed attackers attackers by himself, killing 3 of them and severely injuring 8 others. At one point, they fired a shot at him that missed. They eventually managed to wrest the blade from his hand and cut him with it, wounding his left hand, but by then, the damage was done. The remaining bandits fled in panic. When the girl's family offered him a 300,000 rupee cash reward afterward, he refused it. He said, "Fighting the enemy in battle is my duty as a soldier. Taking on the thugs on the train was my duty as a human being."
This guy's like an anime character. They gotta make a whole anime arc around this guy. That was insane. Fighting the enemy is my duty as a soldier. Fighting the bad guy is my duty as a human. No need for your money. I wonder if anyone else hopped in, because I think in the back of most of the guys' minds who are like handing the money over or whatever, they're thinking to themselves, you know, like part of me, you know, that manliness in me wants to get up and start fighting, but I can't do it alone. I'm not gonna start scrapping alone. That's an idiotic move. But once someone else gets up and starts doing it, and you see that they're cooking, you see they're on a 3-kill streak, you see that they're actually doing some damage, and they also need help because it's a 1v40, at what point, as a man, or do you sit there and like finally decide to get up and help that guy? You know, not saying I would. I don't know what I would do in that situation either. I'd realistically, I'd probably continue watching. I'm just wondering if anyone else like was like, oh, look how honorable and amazing this guy is. I gotta help him. It sounds like that didn't happen though. Anyway, next up we have the viral thief.
Viral thief. In the summer of 2013, a German tourist was on holiday in Ibiza with a group of friends. The night ended with the decision to go skinny dipping in the Mediterranean. However, when they came back out of the water, their clothes and belongings were gone. Among the missing items was an iPhone belonging to one of the women in the group. That would normally be where the story ends. But the thief, a man from Dubai whose name turned out to be Hafid, made one critical oversight. He never deleted the Dropbox app on the phone, and he never disabled the automatic photo upload feature. As a result, every single photo he took on the device was uploading directly to the original owner's cloud storage account in real time. She could see everything. She started a Tumblr blog called Life of a Stranger Who Stole My Phone, posting the photos Hafid was taking while he had absolutely no idea. The blog followed Hafid's daily life in Dubai, from posing in front of landmarks with his friends to events. The blog went viral almost immediately, accumulating thousands of followers, and Hafid almost certainly never suspected all of this existed. The blog simply went quiet after a while, with the owner posting a final message saying she hadn't heard from Hafid in a long time, that the photos had stopped coming, and that she assumed he had moved on and found a new phone.
I don't know, why did she track him down? I guess it did say like he went back to his home or whatever, so it's probably pretty far away. But like, dude, if someone stole my phone, I'm calling the police on them. I'm like, hey, you know, he's uploading photos of who he is and where he is. Please go get my phone back. That's insane. But W lady, like that's a hilarious thing to do. Start a blog about what that dude is posting. That's fantastic. I hope that she probably honestly ended up making a lot more money than what the phone is even worth from that blog. So that's like 5,000 IQ. She saw the opportunity, took it, and profited from it. Genius. Next up, we have the Ecole Valentine
incident.
Valentine.
On a Sunday evening in June 2016, 2 men in their 20s walked into a McDonald's in Ecole Valentine, a small commune in eastern France. The plan was straightforward. They fired a shotgun at the ceiling, yelled at the customers to get on the floor, and one of them took around 2,000 euros from the registers. What they had not noticed was who was sitting in the restaurant with them. 11 of the roughly 40 customers inside were off-duty members of the GIGN, the French Special Forces unit described as among the most effective anti-terror forces in Europe. The 2 robbers had walked into a room containing some of the most trained individuals in the country. The officers did not move during the robbery. They waited for the heist to finish so as not to put the other customers in danger. The moment the 2 men tried to leave, 9 of the officers went after them. They caught the first robber when he stumbled on a staircase. The second one kept running, and at one point, he turned and took aim at the officers pursuing him. They fired warning shots and told him to stop. He took aim again, and they shot him in the abdomen. Both men were taken to hospital and charged with armed robbery. None of the staff or customers were hurt.
How did no one get hurt? I guess it was all a bluff, which I'm realizing now is probably like what most robberies are, where thieves will bring in guns, but then never actually have the intention on shooting them. It's more of just a threat, hoping that nobody will fight back. Because like in that case, if you have a gun and you're robbing the store and someone gets up and tries to stop you, you'd think you just shoot them and that's it. Like it's not that hard. It's not that hard to, you know, point and blast. I just don't get how no one got hurt in that incident. except for the actual robber himself. But hey, hats off to those guys. I like to think I'd be, like, you know, an honorable man who would step up in times of need to save the innocent civilians. When I was back in school, I'm sure a lot of you guys do this, but like I would try to picture myself like, what if the school went on lockdown and someone busted into our room with an AK-47? What do you do? And I would always have a plan. Like I would always locate like the nearest metal chair, and my plan would be to pick it up and chuck it at the dude, then run up, punch him right in the nuts. He would bend over, then I'd knee him in the nose. Then I would take his gun and bang, I'm the hero forever and ever. That was, like, I'm not even kidding. That is what my game plan was. But realistically, if that situation were to unfold, I don't actually think I would do it, which is sad to say, because like deep down, you want to be that guy who saves the day, but it's one thing to want to be that and then to actually do it. Anyway, shout out to these guys for actually doing it. That's insane.
The evil battle. On the night of November 6th, 2019, a 33-year-old man named Alex Rawls showed up at an apartment in Michigan looking for his ex-girlfriend. She had moved away specifically to put distance between herself and him, but Rawls did not know this. He also did not know anything about whoever was now living there. It was Ben Ball, a 36-year-old man who was sitting at home watching TV and playing video games. When the loud knocking started, he answered the door, and he told Rawls his former roommate was in Florida. Then he simply went back to his evening. 2 hours later, the knocking started again, and then the unexpected happened. The door came off its frame. Rawls had broken in. What he had no way of knowing, however, was that Ball was a medieval combat practitioner.
Like a LARPer? Isn't that what it's called? LARPing? LARPing. LARPing stands for live action role playing. It's an interactive hobby where players from fictional characters wear costumes and act out stories in real time. Yeah, this guy's a LARPer. Nah, bro. What are we doing? Or maybe like he's actually a medieval practitioner. Medieval UFC. I saw like there's actual like medieval UFC fights, like MMA. You can throw like elbows and like start punching each other, and you actually have swords and stuff. This is a real thing. Maybe this is what he is. If he's a LARPer, that means nothing to me. That does not mean he's skilled in combat whatsoever in my mind. But if he's actually like a MMA, UFC, whatever, medieval guy, I guess I could see it then.
The apartment was filled with replica weapons dating back to the Viking Age. He owned Nordic swords, daggers, armor, and his personal favorite, a double-headed carbon steel battle axe.
Oh my God.
The moment the door came open, Ball grabbed the axe. His own description of what followed was brief. Door opened, grabbed the axe, then step, hit. The axe connected with Rawls at least once in the torso. The two then grappled through the apartment, destroying the place. Eventually, Rawls gave up and ran. Police deployed a K-9 unit and followed a trail of blood directly to him. Rawls spent the night in hospital before being taken to jail, where he faced a charge of first-degree home invasion.
That's a really bad one too. I mean, how embarrassing is that? You break into someone's house. He grabs a freaking battle axe. Probably shouts, "Who goes there?" I can't imagine him. Like, how are you still going to continue walking into this apartment and like really trying to fight someone who has a battle axe? He's got a battle axe. What else could he possibly have grabbed or been equipped with for you to be like, you know what, I give up. I'm gonna head out. This was not a fight I should have picked. He's wielding a battle axe. Dude, just cut your losses and go. She's not worth it, bro. She is not worth it. Next up, the Clifton Man.
In the late 1970s, the streets of Bristol had a serious problem. A mystery attacker, over the course of 18 months, had attacked and sexually assaulted 7 women as they walked home at night. Fear was spreading fast, and demonstrations were being held across the city. Police were under pressure to act, so they launched something unusual. Male police officers dressed up in long blonde wigs, stockings, high-heeled shoes, and padded bras walked the city streets. Female officers were also sent out in plain clothes as part of the operation, which was called Operation Argus. These officers were, of course, used as bait. Night after—
That is awesome. That is the most hilarious while equally awesome operations of all time. I wonder like how deep into the act the officer will let him get before he reveals that he's actually a man. You know, like he gets pinned down. He's like this. He's strapped to the floor. Oh no! Oh!
Stop! You've run right into my trap card.
Man, I bet you some of those officers would have let it go a long way before the grand reveal. Okay, I don't want to stay on this too long, but imagine like, dude, all the guys had to get dressed up in the police building, like the police station before heading out. Just imagine seeing your boy dressed up as an absolute dime. Like he's looking good. He's like a 10 out of 10, dude. Imagine you like see him walk out of the changing room and you're like, all right, go ahead, dang. I actually don't know how I would feel. I don't know if I would just be like cracking up hysterically, which I think I would be. I think I'd lean towards cracking up hysterically, but there's a small percentage of me who would just be like, smash.
After night, the team went out, hoping to catch the man they believed drove a yellow Ford Capri. Then, in the early hours of March 23rd, 1979, something happened. A sergeant spotted the Capri, and he realized the driver matched the photo fit that had been circulating. The car was following one of the officers on foot, a 24-year-old rookie named Michelle Leonard. What the man in that car did not know was that there were 5 other officers watching from observation points along her route. He also did not know he was targeting a trained police officer.
I was really hoping that he would go after one of the guys dressed as a girl, but he's going after an actual girl. This guy's, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He won't be fooled. I probably would have been fooled.
Evans grabbed Michelle and told her, "Don't scream or I'll kill you." Within seconds, the nearby officers closed in and tackled him to the ground. They found out it was Ronald Evans, a man who had previously been jailed for life for murder, but was released on parole in 1975 and had moved to Bristol before beginning his attacks. He was then released on license in 2018, becoming one of Britain's longest-serving prisoners, having previously served over 50 years behind bars. However, in 2023, at 82 years old, while volunteering at a community center in London, he sexually assaulted another woman, earning him another 4 years in prison.
How is it only 4 years? No, that actually makes me so mad. That makes me so mad. What is the justice system anymore? I mean, I know I don't live in England, but like, if that happened in America, which I believe it does, I'd be furious. What are you talking about? He was sentenced to life in murder, then got off? Honestly, I don't really know what parole means. What does that even mean? He gets off on parole. Why would you ever let that guy out, first of all? Second, he assaults 18 women. I believe it was 18, what he said in the beginning. And he still, after murdering somebody and assaulting countless others, he still doesn't get life in prison. They let him out again. And then, oh, you never believe it. Oh, you never believe it. He got another one. He assaulted another lady when he got out of jail. I mean, how stupid, how actually stupid can you possibly be to let somebody like that out of jail? I don't care how many years they serve. They've proven time and time again that they cannot be a part of society. No, that actually makes me so mad. Like, that girl who got assaulted by him when he was 82 should be able to like sue the government for not protecting their citizens, for allowing people like him to be released. Here's the thing. I understand that though, like on one side you could say, oh, you know, we should be forgiving and we should be understanding of these people who go through tragic times and then end up doing bad things to people. Like, we should be understanding of them. And I think that side, like, that comes from a very empathetic way of thinking, which I understand. I get it. But on the other hand, if you are empathetic towards the people who are a detriment to society and a threat to everybody else, then you're being very unfair to all the people who do play by the rules. You're being very unfair to the people who are innocent. You're being very unfair to the people who mind their own business and actually are good people. And I'm sorry, but if I'm going to pick a side, if I'm going to choose a team, I'm going to choose the team who does not break the law, who does not murder people, who does not assault people. I'm going to choose those people. It's really like common sense to me. I don't understand how someone like that can get off and out of jail. That actually makes me so mad. Oh my God. Anyway, next up we have the acid bathtub.
Acid bathtub. Between 1944 and 1949, John George Hay murdered at least 5 people using the exact same gruesome method, dissolving their remains in sulfuric acid. In 1949, he befriended Olive Duran Deacon, a wealthy 69-year-old widow. When she mentioned a business idea she was developing for artificial fingernails, Hay lured her to his workshop under the pretense of helping her. She trusted him, but tragically, he killed her there and dissolved her body in acid, just as he had done to his previous victims. This time, however, Hay made a fatal error, which you'll soon understand. Unlike his earlier crime scenes, this workshop lacked easy access to a manhole, forcing him to dump the resulting sludge directly into the backyard. Overconfident, he even helped report the widow missing to the police. Then, to his surprise, investigators searched the property and discovered the sludge in the yard. In a normal situation, it would have looked like unrecognizable waste with no obvious connection to a human body. However, the investigators found something incredibly weird.
The nails?
3 gallstones and, most crucially, a complete set of upper dentures alongside a partial lower denture. As it turned out, the acrylic material of the dentures resisted the acid entirely.
Whoa.
Mrs. Duran Deacon's dentist confirmed he had crafted those exact dentures, identifying them with absolute certainty. Hay was executed for his crimes in August 1949.
See? I mean, I don't know if I'm pro-execution or not. That's I'm not sure about. But at least, like, bang, they lay the law down. Bang! You're done, buddy. You're done. You're no longer a part of society. Get out. That's more like it. Next up, the venomous bag.
This bag. On a Saturday night in early January 2003, a thief in Sydney spotted what looked like an easy opportunity. A canvas bag was sitting on the passenger seat of a four-wheel drive, stopped at traffic lights. The thief yanked open the car door and grabbed it. What he did not know was anything about the driver or his profession. The car belonged to Bradley McDonald, a snake handler, who had just caught a snake in a nearby car park and placed it in that very bag.
Nuh-uh.
Inside was a venomous 4-foot red-bellied black snake, very much alive. The red-bellied black snake is one of Australia's more recognizable venomous species.
Why would you just steal a random bag? I mean, I guess he never in a million years would have thought that a venomous snake would have been in some random bag. But like, why would he? I mean, I don't know. Like the bag could have had like literally nothing in it. That's such a weird thing to do. Like just steal someone's bag. My point is like he could have stolen a wallet or a purse, something that you know will have money in it at least. But a random bag is such a strange thing to just go steal.
Venom can cause significant pain, swelling, and other serious symptoms, and the snake defends itself if it feels cornered or threatened, which inside a stolen bag in the hands of a panicking thief, it almost certainly would have. Luckily for him, that didn't happen, and the thief abandoned the bag shortly after stealing it, once he presumably realized what was inside. McDonald said, "It might teach him a lesson. The snake is the innocent party in this." Zaz's
Okay,
revenge.
that wasn't so bad.
If you're going to steal a computer, the absolute worst person to steal it from is a professional cybersecurity expert. In 2010, a hacker known by the handle Zaz was giving a presentation at DEF CON, one of the world's largest hacker conventions, when he revealed that his apartment had been burglarized and his computer stolen. What the thief didn't know was that Zaz had installed remote access security software on his device. He also made one more critical mistake. He never wiped the hard drive. The moment the thief connected to the internet, Zaz began silently monitoring him. He installed a tool that lets you see and control another computer's screen to watch exactly what the person using it was doing in real time. He logged his keystrokes, capturing usernames, passwords, and anything else the thief typed into the machine, read his emails, and watched him browse the web. Zaz compiled a massive, hilariously detailed dossier on the thief's life, his location, and his illegal activities. The thief, identified as Melvin Guzman, spent a significant amount of time browsing adult websites and taking pictures of himself for online dating profiles. Guzman apparently really loved dating sites, and between those accounts, the photos, and other—
Guzman? I mean, talk about all-time awful names.
The Guzman, the Guzzler, the Guzzlord.
Yeah, I almost wish I had that name, actually. That's kind of hilarious. Imagine the nicknames that he got in high school.
activity, Zaz was able to identify him by name and pinpoint his exact address. He handed everything over to the police on a silver platter, which raided the thief's house and recovered the stolen goods. Zaz got to present the entire humiliating operation at DEF CON 18, and the audience absolutely loved it.
That's absurd. And it's very scary, like how easy it is for someone who's in cybersecurity to actually hack another computer, especially these days. I mean, in 2026, AI is out of control already. I can't imagine what it's going to be like in a couple of years. I do wonder, like, if eventually you can just tell AI, like, hey, hack this guy's computer, give me all his info, thank you. And then it just will. Pretty scary times we're living in, to be honest with you. Next up, the McVey case.
This case is different from the others because the person who ended up changing everything was not a trained fighter or an undercover officer. She was just a 17-year-old girl. On the night of November 3rd, 1984, Lisa McVey had just finished a late shift and was riding her bike home. Around 2 a.m., as she passed a church parking lot, a man jumped out from the darkness, grabbed her by the neck, dragged her off her bike, and pressed a gun to her temple. That man was Bobby Joe Long. By the time he grabbed Lisa, he had already murdered 8 women and more than 50 others across the Tampa Bay area. To him, she was just another victim, but she wasn't. While blindfolded and held captive for 26 hours, she memorized every detail she could. She intentionally left her fingerprints on surfaces in his bathroom, committed the route they traveled to memory, and took note of anything she could feel or hear around her. She also manipulated Long psychologically. She offered to be his secret girlfriend and told him she was the only child of a sick father, trying to make him see her as a person. Her plan worked, and he let her go. When she got to the police, the information she gave them was precise enough to track him down. Officers arrested Bobby Joe Long just 13 days after he released her. Long sat on death row for 34 years. Then, on May 23rd, 2019, Lisa McVey, now a master deputy in the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, sat in the witness room at Florida State Prison and watched him die by lethal injection.
Whoa! That is crazy. That is the craziest story yet. Dude, that's literally a movie. That is an entire movie. Bro, what? She got kidnapped kidnapped and essentially realized that she's got like Sherlock Holmes superpower-esque abilities, and with that became a deputy to then end up watching her initial, or I guess her only, the guy who kidnapped her be put to death. I mean, that is really unbelievable. That could be a movie. There could be a whole movie around that one as well. It's kind of sad that a lot of movies are kind of based around like tragic events. I feel like on half of these, I go, oh, that should be a movie. Holy crap. Maybe that's a me thing, but I feel like that's true. Like a lot of TV shows are built around tragedies.
Cordy incident. In 2008, 23-year-old Gregory McCallium had a dispute with his 72-year-old neighbor, Frank Cordy, possibly holding a grudge over a noise complaint submitted by the Cordis that same morning. The younger man decided to do something about it. He broke into his neighbor's home and confronted Frank directly. Given their age difference, the intruder likely thought it would be an easy fight, but his night was about to go very wrong. McCallium threw a knife at the older man, who simply sidestepped it. What the attacker didn't know was that his target was a former Royal Engineers soldier who had boxed competitively in the 1950s. Cordy landed 2 quick punches to the face, instantly dropping the 24-year-old. He then made a citizen's arrest, keeping the man pinned to the ground until police arrived. When McCallium showed up to court with a black eye and swollen lip, his own lawyer reportedly remarked that he looked like a car accident. The judge at Oxford Crown Court told him he got what he deserved before sentencing him to 4.5 years in prison.
If you bring a knife to a fight, why would you throw it? I mean, that's got to be the dumbest thing of all time. A knife clearly is like a melee weapon, and you're just throwing it away. Unless you have another one like in your back pocket. But I mean, that is so stupid. What an idiot. And this, I mean, could be another movie. Here's the movie pitch though. The guy who was the boxer, the old man, he was like a good boxer, ended up losing. Then the next like 20 years starts drinking a lot, whatever, loses his mojo. But then someone breaks into his house with a knife and he beats the crap out of him, beats the absolute bricks out of him. Now he's 70 years old, but he's like, hang on a minute, I still got it. I just beat up this 20-year-old kid, no problem, bing bong, I still got it. Let me go back into the boxing ring, and next thing you know, 72-year-old man is the champion of the world. That's another movie, dude. That's I mean, maybe a stupid movie. Maybe it could be a parody, like a funny movie. Nonetheless, though, that would make for an epic story.
Escape the escape room. In the early hours of July 8, 2018, a 40-year-old man named Rye Daniel Wardlaw broke into a business in a strip mall in Vancouver. The business was Northwest Escape Experience, an escape room where groups work together, find clues, and solve puzzles in order to escape locked rooms. Unfortunately for him, Wardlaw had no idea what he had walked into. He grabbed a non-working phone from the front desk, a television remote, and a can of beer from the fridge, and wandered into one of the unlit rooms. According to the owner, the sheriff later described him as seemingly settling in to have a breakfast burrito and a beer. What went wrong was the exit. Wardlaw had done so much damage to the back door trying to get in that he could no longer open it to get out. He also apparently did not know how to use the lock on the front door. So, in total panic, he did the only thing he could think of. He called 911 multiple times. By the time officers arrived, Wardlaw had managed to get out on his own, but deputies found him still lurking around the strip mall and arrested him. He was charged with second-degree burglary. The owner of the business had one final word on the matter. He said, "I'm proud to say I'm the only escape room in the Northwest that has a 100% capture rate of criminals."
That's funny. I mean, technically he did escape at the end, but the escape room did actually work on the guy. Great advertising. That guy should make like TikToks about that story. Anyway, boys, that's it. If you enjoyed today's video and you want to watch more, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and click right here for more.